What's up everyone? Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about 25 life-changing habits for 2025. Number 1, balancing your blood sugar by eating certain food items first. This has been tested by many people on TikTok. On a plate, if you have proteins, carbs, and vegetables, you want to go for the vegetables first. Now I'm not saying not to eat carbs at all. If we start off with the carbs, it's going to spike our insulin and it's going to really throw off our glucose levels all day long. And it's supposed to really just help you feel balanced and hopefully avoid that food coma crash. But that means your meals are going to have to be balanced. Next, wait at least 1 hour before checking any social media or things on your phone that's not necessary to your morning. I've actually put downtime scheduled on my phone until 8 a.m. A lot of the social media apps that I would like to go on, they are off and unavailable. This is just another set of accountability for me that there is no need for me to be checking Instagram or TikTok at 6 in the morning. And that gives me time to do other things. Use this time to reflect or read or journal or pray or really anything else. Next is micro journaling. I think a lot of these habits with journaling, they start to fall off because they're taking too long out of our day and we tend to just not do it. So whether it's writing it on your phone or you're writing it in your notebook, what I like to do is I write 3 things I'm thankful for, 3 things I'm kind of worried about or I'm praying for, and then 1 thing I think God is teaching me today or 1 recent thing that you are learning. Next, get into the habit of deleting apps you don't need anymore. Periodically when I'm scrolling through my phone, I'll look and see, are there any apps I just don't use? Our phones naturally will offload any apps we don't need, but I like to get a head start. It also clears up data and it's just a way of decluttering. Next, take 3 deep breaths before you go to sleep and also during times when you're feeling emotionally overwhelmed. Just breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. Do it 3 times and then speak or go to sleep. Calm your central nervous system, like that anxiety, that go feeling, by slowing down. The other day I went walking with my husband. I tend to kind of walk ahead of him because I just move so fast, but I was like, I'm here with my husband, I'm gonna walk with him. So I walked at his pace and I just felt a lot more calm. We're moving kind of slow, but I don't feel so rushed and that I have a million things to accomplish. I'm just gonna take my time and slow down. Next is movement snacking. So movement snacking is basically fitting in movements throughout your day as if it was like a little snack. So you want to get into the habit of moving your body every hour. My Apple Watch will actually tell me if I've been sitting for at least an hour and it'll tell me it's time to stand up. And that's a great reminder for me to get up, get moving, or whether it's just stretching in your chair. There are so many things that we could be doing to move our bodies. So a movement snack can be a 2-minute movement every hour of the day that you're sitting. Next, I talk about this a lot on my channel, but it's to have a sleep schedule. You're going to feel more rested when your schedule is a little bit more predictable. You're not kind of like, let's see what the world throws at me today. You know, control what you can control, where if you can sleep earlier, sleep earlier. And try to keep a consistent routine so you're not thrown off. Our body does have a system going on, whether we're aware of it or not. Hydration timing. So what's really helpful for me in consuming more water, other than, you know, just having my water bottle next to me all the time, is I drink water first thing when I wake up. And then before I'm about to eat a meal, I also take some gulps of water. And this is just allowing me to be hydrated and to also not mistake thirst for hunger. That means also, you coffee drinkers, to drink water before you go for coffee. I just make sure that no matter what I do, water comes first. Except running. If I drink too much water before I run, I get cramps. Next, use the stairs instead of the elevator. So this entire year, my husband and I have been utilizing this. Obviously, if we're carrying a lot of heavy things, we're gonna use the elevator. Otherwise, we will use the stairs. Limit your disposable waste. I have been trying to be more mindful to use reusable things, whether it's, you know, always having my water bottle with me or bringing my grocery bag with me wherever I go and always putting it back in the car. These are just little steps that we can do to limit our waste. I am not perfect, but we're trying. Which then goes into the next point of limiting our plastic use. For our dishwasher, I use tablets instead of the pods. Laundry, I use tablets instead of pods. And being more mindful of our plastic use, because even dryer sheets contain little bits of plastic, and there's just all these studies on the microplastics that humans have been ingesting. So I'm just trying to be more mindful. Next, avoid toxins, especially in household items and in feminine products. So I have switched over to Branch Basics, but Blue Land is also another reputable cleaning product brand, I honestly would choose either one. I do have period underwear, but I tend to have a heavier flow, so unfortunately that's not enough for me. I've also been wearing cotton pads, so it just gets rid of any dyes or anything that's in like other products. And I'm trying to use more natural products. These are the brands I've been using. That's cotton and is a lot more breathable, because a lot of these toxins have been found to really impact our hormones and cause hormone imbalances. So not to fearmonger, but we just want to be mindful of those things and make any changes that we can. It's not totally unavoidable, but trying. Energy awareness in the house. So my husband and I like to use smart lamps, so that way we can always make sure things are turning on and off. And anytime I leave any room, I turn off the lights. And honestly, my apartment doesn't have a lot of natural lighting, contrary to popular belief, but we're just kind of in the dark often. And then at nighttime especially, I don't like to turn on the main house lights. I just prefer lamps. Next, a subscription audit. Look through all of your subscriptions and make sure you only have the things you absolutely need that you are using every week, or at least every other week. If you haven't touched that app or that subscription in a month and you're still paying for it, it's time to let it go. Next, spend 5 minutes every day looking over your finances. Every morning, one of the things that I do is I check our bank account. I check our bank account to make sure that everything that needs to go out is going out. How I handle my finances is I have a list of everything that's an automatic payment or a bill that's gonna go out, and I put the date. Then I look at what date it is today and I make sure everything has gone out up to that day. So if things are going out on the 5th, the 9th, the 15th, then you know, when I'm checking every single day, I'm making sure these payments are going through and nothing's falling through the cracks, or that I'm not being overcharged for something. Every day I like to just check and make sure things are going where they're supposed to be going and the numbers are adding up. I don't know if I'm just paranoid, but I want to make sure that I'm not just trusting the system, but that I am being proactive in our finances. And a way that's making it helpful for me is Face ID. So I don't need to look up like what's my password to my bank account. It literally takes 2 seconds to log in because it just identifies my face. Connections. Connections are very important. As people, we need connections. And my husband and I, we have a joint calendar, and we just add things to our calendar together, and we can check, you know, are we free this day? My husband is also really good about reaching out to people. If you want to hang out with someone, just reach out. Just say, hey, it's been a while. Are there a few dates that you're free? And honestly, getting a date settled, even if it's 2 months from now, that's gonna make it happen. If you're like, yeah, we should catch up, it's been a while. Yeah, I'd love to. And then that's it, it's not gonna happen. When you know you're about to have a difficult conversation, whether it's with your family, whether it's with your friends, instead of starting with, you always blank, say, I feel blank when blank happens. It takes the blame off of the person, and it's just more of explaining, this is how I felt, but could you help me clarify what you meant by that? Most of our friends and family don't intentionally mean to harm us, even if it did. Even if whatever they did hurt us, many times that's not their intention. It just came out that way, and you want to have a conversation about it. So have these sentence starters that's going to create success rather than blame shifting and shaming. Next is task batching. Task batching is basically lumping together your to-do list based on its similarities so that your brain doesn't have to constantly switch. An example of this is when we're on our phones and we're switching from different apps, your brain is constantly switching contacts, right? And that can be exhausting. So even in your work, if you can do a lot of the similar type things in one go, that's better than doing a million things all at different times, because that's gonna be very tiring for your brain. For example, as a teacher, I have to send a lot of emails, I have to organize files, and I have to grade papers. So I used to do one student at a time, and then I was just like getting so tired. So now I'm like, I'm gonna send all my emails. Then the next day, I'm going to organize all the files. Then the next day, I'm going to grade. And that way, I am not context switching. Maybe for studies too, you just pick one day to focus on one subject, which a lot of my students like to do that too. Instead of doing 5 subjects a day, they'll focus 5 hours on one subject. Next is time blocking. I have many videos on time blocking as well, but it's a productivity habit that really maximizes your day, and it creates a schedule for yourself that you need to stick to. So if you have a lot going on and you're feeling super overwhelmed, that's a way to say, I'm going to do this, this and this, and it's all scheduled, and I'm gonna stick to it. This can be overwhelming if you do it every single day for months, because you also need balance and you need days that are unstructured and you're like, I'm just gonna do what I feel like doing. That is okay, but just don't do that every single day. Deep work mornings. This is actually from Andrew Huberman, but he always talks about the deepest work can happen early in the morning, and you need to do like 90 minutes of hardcore work. Now, I find that 60 minutes to 90 minutes is a good spot for me to be really productive and get a lot of work done. After the 90-minute mark, my brain starts to kind of like, I need a break. Some people do the Pomodoro method where it's like 25 or 30 minutes is all they can do before a break. But pretty much you want to set aside 90 minutes in the morning to get things done. Next, this is something that I really want to challenge you to declutter. You can do this in one day, or you could do it in a month. Grab a trash bag and just start throwing things in. You've gone through all the seasons and you still haven't touched that thing, probably you're not going to use it. And you might think, I'm going to need it in the future, but really think, when? Can you name a time of when? If you can, great, keep it. If you can't, let it go. Turn off your notification sounds. None of my sounds are on because I just get so triggered every time I hear a sound of anything. But I do have my parents and my husband who are able to bypass it. So if they call me, it's gonna come through, because usually they'll only call me if it's absolutely necessary. And I check my phone often enough where I'm going to see text messages and all of that. It's very distracting when you're working and you're constantly hearing bings and dings and all of these things that it's pulling for your attention. Be someone who plans ahead. So even if you're not planning 5 years ahead, plan for tomorrow, even though tomorrow is not promised, biblically speaking. But if you're planning to go to the gym, try to pack your clothes the night before. If you have somewhere to be tomorrow, maybe pack your bag the night before. That's just going to mitigate you from forgetting things the next day. If you're meal prepping, just have all your snacks and everything all in one spot in the fridge so you can just grab it and go, instead of like expecting you to remember the next day that your snack is up there and your food's over here. And lastly, practice saying no and setting boundaries to areas that you know are not okay and it's not serving you. There are certain situations in our lives that we go through where you're like, that did not feel great. And learning how to speak up and to set boundaries and to say, I don't think that was appropriate. Is there another way we could have handled this? Is there another way we could have said this? And just pushing back a little bit and allowing other people to reflect and realize they can't talk to you a certain way. And that's something I'm continually working on, is setting boundaries. Setting boundaries can be so difficult and can even kind of hurt because we don't want to hurt other people, but boundaries are so necessary if you want to continue loving that person wholeheartedly. So I hope that these small habits are things that you could keep in mind for the next year. If you like what you see, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you later. Bye!